So I just found my very first peyote. Alright, so we just got pulled over by cops. Today we're going to be talking about our amazing peyote voyage. What even? Our odyssey, our peyote odyssey.
Oh,
this happened
right out of nowhere, like right now.
Yeah, right now.
Okay, I loved it.
When did this happen? Like almost a year and a half ago?
Yeah, it was Halloween.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dia
it
de
was
los
Halloween.
Muertos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dia de los Muertos. Yeah.
Do you remember the
Thank you
significance of that?
Or like the separation between worlds, like gets thinner, you know, so it's like more fluidity between both of them.
You know, it's like planting in the right season.
And also believing like the spirits are good for you, like they're your helpers, you want to be there, you want to celebrate them. So also having like your past families, your past friends, like that pass away, also like present there, like, you know, connected with you. Because it's a celebration, the Dia de los Muertos.
Oh, yeah.
Massive celebration.
And what do we do? Where do we go?
Like from the beginning, remember?
Yeah,
we
it's like,
just
where do we even
landed,
begin?
And then we took the car and like we're driving and the police stopped us.
Okay, so we rented a car. We're on our way to do this peyote ceremony, and then we get stopped off by these Mexican police. Alright, so we just got pulled over by cops, basically looking for drugs, and man, they were searching my house.
Did you do drugs?
You do, and they're like, "Do you do marijuana?" Like, no. I'm like, yeah, you do marijuana.
So you know peyote?
Yeah, you know
peyote.
Peyote? What?
Oh, peyote.
I asked him like, ¿es ilegal? I'm like, tengo mucho miedo de padecer eso.
Marijuana? No.
No te ridículas.
Looking for the.
And then looking for my eyes, like, no, se ven drogado.
And they're like, thing, they were like, oh, this is a pipe. Like, no, you make noise out of this. So eager to get money out of us.
Yeah. You think that's what that was?
Yeah, absolutely. They were like looking for everything to find a thing and then.
Oh, we didn't have a single thing that they could get us. Nothing.
Nice.
Not a joint, cocaine. You do cocaine, surely. I'm like, nah,
Don't
mate.
do that as well?
Yeah, it's like cerveza. I'm like, no, not even a beer, mate. Nothing. And they're like, oh, are you guys gay?
You're right.
And you're like, yeah.
No, maneja.
Pareja. Yeah. There was a bit of bullying there.
There was a bit of bullying there.
But
they just wanted to like make us crack and get money.
yeah.
I pulled the UN card down.
Yeah.
I knew.
Nice, of course. There you go, mate. You've got to keep it cool, calm, and collected in those situations. Otherwise, they just look at one little thing for you to give them an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And my passport?
And my passport.
Wait, hang on a sec.
Wait.
Yeah, this shit ain't funny. Okay, I almost shot myself. I thought they took my passport. Because in America, when I went through the customs, they're like, you know, in America, you know how you're innocent until proven guilty?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in Mexico, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And that is so true, man. It is so true. Every freaking situation we've gotten here, even if you're innocent, they're just like looking for something to try.
Looking, because nobody's truly innocent.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's true. Like, look at your eyes, mate. Yeah, you're gay and high. Look at you. And then what do they say? Like, no, it's okay. A lot of people are gay these days. Like,
Stopped off and recommended like a really good place.
Yeah.
At the end, they were like, oh, you're going to San Luis Potosí, go to this one and this one. And they were like really good places as well.
so basically, they're asking like, "Oh, you're here to do peyote, huh?" And we're like, "Peyote? What's peyote? What's that? We don't even know what you're talking about, mate."
I think after a while, when they realized that we had nothing and they had nothing around, so like the energy shifted and they were like, oh, really friendly.
Exactly.
Okay, go to San Luis Potosí and everything.
Yeah, some homophobic comments.
Yeah.
But you know.
Mexico. And then we started driving, and I remember like it was a massive highway, and then it was a road, and then it was a dirt road, and then it was something here like just turn right and start driving in the desert. Like, okay, sure.
And it's like, it's basically like turn right and it's just bushes. And you're like, really here?
The coyotes were like,
Yeah. Anyways, this indigenous community in Mexico, he basically owns a land where they can go, you know, hunting for peyote. And they apparently, not that long ago, I think it was just a couple decades ago, they opened the doors to outsiders, because before it was only the indigenous tribe that could have this peyote.
The communal experience as well, you know. So it was like not only like we were invited to the ceremony because we arrived the day before, they also like we had the chance to talk with them, like, and they took us like to pick up the peyotes for the cleaning, and also like telling us a lot of things as well about the culture. So we were like full on invited, like for you to record everything as well, but also with the stories and the families and like what was really going on.
A lot of people have concerns about the sustainability of peyote because it takes decades to grow one. But the way that they, because we asked them about it, and that's like, you've got to cut it in a very specific way so it actually grows quicker. So instead of ripping it like from the root.
So the peyote tourism complex industry, like they started like just getting like, just go to Mexico, go over there, have a tea and go crazy like in the mountains. And of course, it's a cactus in the desert, so just a small piece. It takes 8-10 years or something to grow because it's just collecting water. So they are just going around and chopping it down. And so this community, these indigenous, they know how to like properly cut it down. So from that bud, you will have like 5 more like coming out of it. But then now also you also have like companies from California, which are just buying the land, like all of it. And they are just like planting.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
They are just planting a bunch of tomatoes, I think they told us, to sell it like organic tomatoes, like back in the States.
Oh, okay. So the loophole just to get...
So this indigenous group was going, like, these massive companies were buying the land, and they were going there to pick up, like, as much of the peyote that they could find, so they could, like, reforest it, replant it again. So I remember we had a lot of conversations as well as that, like the life and everything, beyond, like, the ceremony told.
And we had the privilege of actually going with Don Andres to the land and actually pick the peyote. So we get to spend like a whole day with him the night before. The first one that I found was like this huge one. Do you remember my very first one? And even the shaman was like, very lucky. That's gonna...
You're really proud about that.
Yeah, I was.
Like, what's better about that? Like, oh, I found out.
But it's cool. Yeah. And it's not hard because like once you notice like, oh, they usually grow around this specific plant, and then you get the eye for it.
Sí, hay que quitar esto. Todo. Y esto.
Okay, gracias.
We got into like this massive like truck, and we started driving, and then we reached like this little town, and they just go like in a parking lot like this. And when we entered the parking lot, there was like a tree, and a cow was like tied to the parking lot.
Yes,
and then it was like, oh, all the stories that they told us about the sacrifices, they're not chicken, it's gonna be a cow. So they tie the cow up, like put it down, like with the legs and all of that. A Tesla is passing by, of course. And then, where is the cow gonna go? In the truck with us. So back with the cow with us, and Rick, our friend, was just stroking the cow, like really peacefully. We knew what was going to happen. The cow knew what was going to happen, but it was peaceful nonetheless. And then in the middle of like nowhere in the desert, after half an hour driving more, they just pull over, and we were like, okay, here is where we're gonna pick up the cactus. And Don Andres arrived, and he was like, yeah, watch out with the snakes. Like, oh, the ones that bite? No, the ones that kill you. Okay, fair enough.
So casual, like, yeah, they kill you, but it's okay, just be careful.
And it was really good also, like they telling us like the importance of like the first cactus that you arrive, how it's a message from the desert to you, how that's like the doses that you're supposed to get, and like the vibe that you're gonna get.
So if you find 20 cactuses, you have to eat all 20 cactuses, otherwise you're disrespecting the land, you're disrespecting the peyote, you're disrespecting the spirit. Yeah, it's absolute. You eat what you find. Right? Luckily, exactly. Ves uno solo, leave it alone.
No. Si ves uno lo puedes agarrar, pero si lo ves muy chiquito no.
Oh, okay. And never pull it from the root. Always slice.
You see those 3?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. 3 hikuris. 2 tiny.
Ahí lo vi.
Entonces,
¿está buena esto?
Sí.
¿Sí?
Este sí es puro blanco.
Yo traigo uno
Este es azul.
Azul.
Ujú. Blanco es otro. Aquí se ve blanco.
¿Y qué es la diferencia del blanco y azul?
Ujú. Es que la flor se va a ver, pero aquí se ve.
Entonces esto tengo que comer.
Ujú.
Okay. And I remember asking our friend Rick, like, what advice do you have for like going into this? Like, you know, I've never done peyote before, and I always go into this with trepidation, like, oh, because I was getting nervous that night before. I'm like, man, are we really doing this? And I asked Rick, and he's like, when you go, you go. No half measures. Right? If you're gonna do this, do it.
So by the time we're in the desert, like picking up the mushroom, we are in that mindset and spiritual like thing about finding the mushroom, like respecting the doses, like doing everything,
The
you know,
peyote,
picking up
the cactus.
the peyote. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, for sure.
Same. Same,
You know,
but
Japan speaking about Mexico with my accent, like what's going on? I don't know. But so we got there, like picking it up, and I remember like I found one, and then I found another, and then I found three, and it was like crazy up. And then the son of Don Andres arrived with like a massive bag with like 100 of them. It was like, okay, he knows where to find them. Right?
Yeah, we found two. We were out there for ages.
Like, oh.
So I just found my very first peyote. Like I found a few, but if they're too little, then you're not supposed to pick them. I don't know if excited is the right word, because it's not, because I know I'm about to step into something very special and profound, and there's a lot that goes into this. Animal sacrifice regarding the bull, from what I understand, it's like a spiritual transaction. Soul for a soul, I guess. That was my fault. That went in. That went in. I don't even want to look at my foot right now. My first peyote.
Nice.
And the shaman cut it himself.
Oh, nice. Bunch of spice, mate.
Okay, so that one really hurt. Oh man, that went really, really deep. Maybe I'm just being dramatic, but it did hurt. Huh? I need to leave my blood in the desert. It's not just a cow.
And then, okay, finish all of that. It was like, okay, we need to go to the place where we're going to have the ceremony, like before like opening the space and stuff.
And they believe that land, their community was there before the flood of the Bible.
Yeah.
And that was, there was some really special significance over there until we went on a mound.
Yeah,
I remember carried the cow, also. Remember?
Yeah, because I remember like after picking up all the cactus, like where are the cactus gonna go now? Like in the truck with the cow, with the mushrooms, and we like, okay, fair enough.
No creo poder cargarlo todo, pero nosotros vamos a ponerlo aquí.
And this place has a lot of meaning for them. So it was like, these are the mountains, that's where the sun is burned. Like this is the mount that where we are gonna have like the previous ceremony. Not meteorite, but it was like a different type of stone. It stand out from all of that valley. So we went downstairs, you were recording, and then I remember the stuff, and like some people pick up the cow and start bringing it up. And in this moment, we also have like families there. We were 20, 30 people.
Yeah, there were children
there. Were children there. And there was a little girl was asking like, what is going to happen with the cow?
Do you want to recreate the experience of?
Yeah, and then we are like, they are putting everything out. They're doing the singing, which was amazing with all of the singing, like the chanting. And I think by that moment, you put your camera out. So we were like really into the moment. Yeah. And in one moment, you have the cow.
Okay.
No, we don't have videos of that, of course.
No, no, I lost all my video footage on the camera, but we got photos, and we're going to try to use our storytelling abilities to recreate this experience for you.
do remember like how everything was like super spiritual and chill, and then the moment of the sacrifice came, graphic, really graphic, boom, blood comes out, and then everything went out.
Well, he went too quick. So he gets the knife.
Yeah.
And then the cows just, and he just goes. It was fucking brutal, man.
Yeah, I wasn't much looking at the cow. Like I saw like
because I was in the front view.
Like,
because you were behind.
Yeah, but I do remember people like taking out like photographies and things and out and covering blood, and like Rick like putting a glass and chopping blood, and somebody putting blood in our heads, and like all of the chanting.
Yeah, my
at the
necklace.
moment.
I remember.
The necklace. Yes, everybody like putting the blood. The blood is
the
sacred.
candle.
The blood.
And
the
you have.
candle.
I'm pretty sure we all did. You did too.
Yes,
so we all had a candle, and you had to put it in the neck hole, and
you have to.
with the bloop bloop,
and
then you have to like wipe the blood on the rock or something like that.
Yes, as
and then you leave it, and you have to leave a photo of a loved one. And I actually had Yesenia covered in cow's blood. I have a picture. Yep, right there.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's part of the ceremony. When you go, right? That was no half measures. So. I had a picture of Yesenia's face right now.
Personality sounds like that moment because the entire environment, because like all the pre-activities that we did, I don't know how to say it, like it didn't feel like so rough. I would thought it would be. Like, or maybe because I wasn't looking at the cow, I was looking at the people and like the experience of the people.
It's true. Like right now, because it's like we're detached from this experience. Because it's been so long, but I do remember I cried, man. I shed a tear because it was like it was really sad.
And then like they were like, okay, if you do have like a cactus, you can get it blessed by God and Andres, and you can have it now. And I remember looking at you and it's like, dude, it's like 11 a.m. We're like,
it's
the
not even
ceremony is at night, and we're gonna do a cactus now.
Yeah,
you're gonna go, you go.
When
okay,
you go.
Andres, like, can you bless my cactus?
Do you remember that?
It's so tasty. I loved it.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Oh, for me, it was like I was like this.
I really liked it.
And you have to like pull out all the spikes and the flowers first.
Everybody just take your own moment, like self, and then, like we all like started looking at the mountains and looking at everything. Like, what is gonna happen with the cow? Are they gonna leave it here for the coyotes? What is gonna go? And then like this little Mexican, like really cool guy, just started like with the knife. And like in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that, everything was gone.
It was just a blood stain on the ground.
Yeah, just put in buckets, and they just kept taking the buckets away. And it was like,
so the cow head would go on one bucket, one leg would go over this kid who's wearing like this flannel shirt with, and just like.
So we have in that moment in the mountain, like in the little mountain, then we go back, and then I think, like, of course, where are all the buckets of cow gonna go back to the place of the ceremony in the truck where we are going.
So we're in the back of this truck, waiting for this HIKURI experience to kick up, and
100 HIKURIs there,
and I'm just sitting there. And by the way, thank you for all the GoPro footage, man. But it saved us. So we're gonna show it here, and I'm sitting on the back of the truck, and I'm just looking at this cow, and his tongue is just it's just like really graphic. And I remember, and then the HIKURI started to kick in, and we're driving away, and you see this majestic purple mountain, and it was like we were driving away, but the mountain was like growing, right? And I was like, whoa! And then I looked down, and then I see the cow, and I'm looking at this freaking cow. I'm like, oh man! I started to feel sick, and I'm like, wait, no, this is reality. Right? Like, where in my life am I avoiding the cow head? You know, it was like this symbolic thing. Because you see the cow, this is all part of it, right? Like, everyone wants to just stare at the mountain and ignore the cow head. And so I went through this whole journey in my mind where I'm like, no, this is, I have to accept this. This is part of reality. So I'm just kind of looking at it, being at peace with it. Because it was really uncomfortable for me, and then by the end of it, I'm like fist bumping the cow thing. Okay. Like, it sounds like crazy, but it was like, it was my journey. All right, don't judge. I went through this whole thing in my mind.
Nice, very nice. Yes. Yeah, enjoy it, and later go hard.
Yes.
Go hard. I'm gonna give you a tiny bit of blood. For the necklace.
They gave me.
Ah, they gave you already?
Yeah.
There you go. Amazing.
Very symbolic. Cheers.
So after half an hour, 45 minutes of driving in the desert with 100 hikuris, the guy with the blood in her head, we had blood on our head, not the guy, we. And the cow
those
and everything,
people.
they just stopped again in this little town into the liquor shop. You want to get some beers?
Yeah, they get freaking beers. Yeah. And I think to sell some of the cow parts or something.
Okay, maybe.
So, maybe, yeah.
And by the time we got into the town and I got out of the truck, it's like I'm gone. Like
it was like this.
Tripping, like,
as soon as you get out, right? It's like those transitions where you think you're okay. You're like, oh yeah, I'm tripping. I'm definitely feeling something. I'm getting the visuals. But when the truck stopped and we got out, and I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. And all the elder people there were so nice. Don Andres, his son, Rick, everybody was making huge amount of like good jokes, vibe, entertaining.
Yeah.
So I do remember like having been in other ceremonies and experiences around the world, how you have all these rules, you know, how it should be. And then like being in the place where it's like authentic and natural, and it's like just be yourself and just be respectful of everything.
They're doing it for thousands of years, right?
Exactly.
These aren't like...
Yeah.
Because you know how like certain, like let's say Western people who do this plant medicine and they project their own way of how it should be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When you look at these guys, I'm like, these are the masters, you know, and they're having fun. Because it's like you can have fun and laugh, but it's still with respect and reverence for the medicine. It's like you don't have to be like so overly serious about it.
And for me as well, I've been into ceremonies when I go like, oh, look at that guy is doing like, oh, pay respect or something.
Yeah.
So being in here in Mexico, like what actually you have to be respectful of, like really and seriously, like what is like.
Like I judged a little bit at the beginning because I've never seen it before, like them drinking beers, right? And I was like, that doesn't seem very spiritual, you know. Like that's that's not spiritual. That's what they do. Yeah. So it's like, okay.
So back in the truck with the cow, the cactus, the beer, and then we arrived to this middle of the desert where the ceremony is going to happen. And the moment we entered, I remember it were like 150 people, Mexicans with massive truck, Texas style. Like it felt like Burning Man, and people with like the boots and the stuff, and everybody was getting ready with like the little blankets and the altars.
Hundreds of people.
Yeah,
dude. And that's when it hit us like real hard.
Oh. Uy. Todo bien. Señores. ¿Qué onda? Listo,
real hot.
And I remember there was a point where we were kind of like floating away into the ether, and then Marco kind of took us in, gave us a chat.
Yeah,
he gave us like
that
hey,
chat was everything. Yeah.
Like
it
was. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was kind of the energy of like, hey guys, remember that.
Yeah.
Remember why you're here, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because when we arrived, they were like, we're gonna clean up the hikuris, we're gonna like do the stew for the cows. So everybody has like a mission, and Marco took us out to also explain us like, I don't know, the subtle aspect of what it was going on with ourselves with the ceremony, but also like, what is going to happen in the ceremony as well. So I think for me as a Western mind, it was also like, because I was going far away, I needed those two anchors or something like, okay, this is this and that. Yeah.
And I think because the Western mind is like very overly scientific. It's always like, what's the dose? What is this? Whereas over there, it's like, that has nothing to do with it. Each peyote that you have, like you could be, let's say, like really out there. And you could think it's crazy to have another peyote, but for them it's like, no, it's not like another psychedelic where it's going to increase the intensity. It's like, you're turning the chapter, you're turning the page. Because I remember when we were in the circle and we're like looking at it, like, what are you doing, bro? Turning the page, amigo. Next chapter. I'm done here, you know?
So by that time we arrived and there is like this massive circle of people, 3 bonfires in the center. And then they told us like, okay, there is the entry and there is the exit of like the thing. So each time that you enter, like go around like anti-clockwise, right? And then you go. And then you can absolutely go to the toilet, but come back to this place. And also like come back to this place because there are snakes and coyotes like in the middle of the desert,
you know,
like you hear them. But it was also like come back to the place. And the rule was like when Don Andres and the people are singing, that's when you sit down.
Yes.
Otherwise, like you can go back to the bonfire, you can move around and stuff. Like that's the moment where you
and you can go.
chill
Yeah,
there.
that's right. And then you dance. Dun, 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 dun. There was like this really weird dance, but it was amazing.
So they started like walking around, like Don Andres with his group, and they just go around and like with a bunch of like smoke and feathers, so, like hit you up, like, and then with the bucket you pick a piece and you start eating.
Allez, c'est pas
First dose, yeah, you sit down, like they sit down, you go to the bonfire, it's like more music, and again, and like the third time, but the third time, we are started like flying away, like the people are flying away as well. Like each time we went to the bonfire, there was more music, more like this Mexico. So it was a party, it was like a celebration of life, a celebration of death, a celebration of everything. So each time we went to the bonfire, it started to be like, oh, rainbow dancing.
Yeah, and everyone's having their own journey because sometimes you hear. I remember hearing some sort of like psychotic screams in the background. You know, I was like, "Ooh, that's," or like someone vomiting, or other people dancing and laughing, and you know, it's like life. It's basically life.
Yeah. And then, they keep on going around and like kept on going around. And I do remember that each time we went to the bonfire, it started to get more Mexican crazy, which I love.
There was this guy, the character of the night, all night. Ay, ay, ay. ¡Viva México! Gracias a Dios. Gracias por tus piernas. Gracias, HIKURI. Gracias, Don Andrés.
He even say gracias alcoholismo.
Yeah. Thank you for my alcoholism. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. And then, like, after a while, like, I noticed that Don Andrés started to get up and, like, doing, but not the entire circle. He will do, like, 3, 4 people, maybe 5, 6, and then come back, sit down. And then the next 5 or 6 and sit down. And they kept on coming. And by the time he's getting closer to us, it's like when I noticed that he's materializing, that's what you say. Was like, oh, I heard about this. So we are going to get, like, you know, a part of our spirit, a part of our thing, like materialized, turn into a, like, you know, this plane of existing physically, and it's gonna be out. Oh, that was.
But it's weird because I also said about peyote, it's like it will take you. It's like an uncle, like a cool uncle.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want to party and have fun and ay 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 woohoo, it will give you that. If you want to go deep within yourself, cool. If you want to go to the dark places, it will take you there. If you, it'll go where you want to go.
Yeah.
And so, because I noticed sometimes when I would be like really out there, and then sometimes I'm like, no, I want to go back to this, and then I'll be super grounded.
Absolutely.
And you can go for a walk, you can do everything that you normally do. It's not like ayahuasca.
Yeah.
What would you compare it to? I know it's like my Western mind, it's just for reference, you know, because it's its own thing, I understand, but...
Yeah, but it wasn't like not only the substance, like the medicine, it was like also the entire ceremony, like the entire experience that put it like somewhere like out of there, like completely different of everything that I have done before, you know, because like, we were like there where it's like in the desert with the HIKURI, the one that we pick up, like, you know, So it's hard for me like to kind of like relate it because I cannot only relate the HIKURIs like the entire thing.
I agree, it's its own thing. Like it's I guess somewhat similar to San Pedro, but it's even then it's still its own thing. You know,
I'm thinking about San Pedro, but then I'm thinking about like the ceremonies in the Amazons that I did, like with that.
Very, very, very different.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. But for me anyway, it had a masculine sort of.
Yeah.
It definitely had like a masculine, grounded kind of energy to it. You know.
And then also they have like this
Let's keep walking.
Or this something that they do that they throw to the bonfire. So each time they will be like, oh yeah, gracias.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sparkles and stuff, and you will be like, ah.
What was it? Was it like grains or something, right?
Yes.
Or whatever it was. It was like they had the bag and it was just gracias, blah blah blah.
Gracias, bro. And
Gracias.
People were having amazing offers.
And they'll give us.
Everybody will
like,
have.
They'll be like, hermano, toma.
Yeah.
It was a family environment.
Yeah, which I really like. It was like respect for the trip of everyone, but at the same time, it was like, hey, what are you doing? Have this. Like, or you will say gracias for something, and they will be like, that's
good. Yeah.
And you will like, because they were so inviting as well, you were inviting them as well. So it did feel like a personal ceremony for me for sure, but the communal aspect of it.
Yes.
Yeah, over the top.
And
so,
yes.
Yeah.
And then so we had that beautiful experience. Then it's sunrise. So we're going all day, all night, like sitting up. Like there's no lying down on this. Yeah. And it was cold, man. It was a cold desert night, I remember.
I do remember them before the sunrise when like Don Andrés came. And by that time, there were like 6, 7 people that all of a sudden, you were on my left, I was like on your right. So they went you first. and like 8 people just with like the feathers and the smoke and everything. Don Andres come, they touch you, and then they put like the hand here, like but inside my like ribs, like I don't know, my track, and here and down here and stuff. And then he went like here in the center, which I saw like he did in different parts for different people. In my case, it was like right here. And show like this black and dorado and golden like aspect of it, and it was like, dude,
Like
came out here.
this crystallized thing.
Yeah.
And I remember you looking.
Crystallization, crystallization, that's the word that I was
Because
looking
you have
at.
like a skeptical mind too. You're like,
Yeah.
where's the
Yeah.
sleight of hand here? You know, me too. You
Yeah,
know?
and it looked like, whoa, and then he threw it to the fire, and it was like, oh, nice. And so the crystallization for me was a highlight of like also the entire experience. The sunrise started happening and stuff, like everybody is insanely amazing.
Yes.
Insane and amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
like
yeah.
beer started to happen as well. So this was like an after. Yeah. I was like, hey, cheers.
Viva Mexico!
Viva
Ay,
Mexico.
ay, ay. Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
This ceremony officially is going to be 5 days. So that means that the lessons are still going to come while you're dreaming, and you can still ask. So we're still in ceremony the next 5 days, which means I'll be flying home within the 5 days.
Still on the portal.
Still in the portal, going through US customs. And they'll be like, what did you do in Mexico?
Is that blood, sir?
Déjale un abrazo a nuestra. Es un gran amigo más que todo. Bendiciones en su vida siempre. Qué bueno, que lo disfrutaron.
Sí.
Eso, era el plan.
Eso.
Chingao.
Then the food started to arrive. You know, the amazing tortillas and like the stew that they made with the cow. Yeah, and everything.
And that cow,
Yeah.
it was amazing. I actually named the cow. I made the mistake. I called him Pedro.
I do have to say, like, everybody left and like stuff, and then there was like garbage everywhere in the ceremony.
Yeah.
And I do remember like Don Andres, loved to Don Andres, but drinking a beer and just throwing it out like the can.
Yeah.
That's sustainability. But anyway, I think it was the next day that we went to San Luis Potosí because we spent the whole day there.
No, what was that town called? It was something magic.
And
Real de 14.
Real de 14.
Real de 14.
San Luis Potosí is like the town where we arrived, like the city.
Yes,
Real de
exactly.
14 is the one where the mining happened.
Yes.
You have to go through the field.
Yes, and it's like a magical town.
That
Peyote town. Even the rubbish bins was shaped
Yeah.
as peyotes.
Yeah, that's Peyote.
Yeah, that was peyote.
That was the day
Yeah.
after because we needed to close the ceremony.
Yes.
So we got early in the morning, went there. And
We rented a horse. We took the horse up the mountain.
Yeah.
And I still had that very first peyote cactus that I picked from that first night because I wanted to save it. So, and then we basically, so we took the horses, we went up this mountain. It was beautiful. It was like Red Dead Redemption if you played that game. It was, so good. And then we go on top of this mountain, we do our ceremony. I think we had to light our candle or leave something there. We did our intentions, closed the ceremony, ate the peyote, and then we take the horse back into town. And then it's like and I remember you being like, are you feeling it? I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit. What about you? I'm like, no, not really. And then we arrived at the town, we get off the horse, and it was like, dude, I think I'm feeling it. And it felt so weird, like this concrete, crystallized, like limited movement, you know. Before it was just like, we were one with the horse.
Yeah.
And we got off, and then all of a sudden we were alone in nature by ourselves, and then we just like walk into this super freeway of just, there's thousands
because
of people.
it's Días de los Muertos in this amazing place, like this town, Real de 14.
It was like peak, right?
Peak, like
Yeah.
thousands of people in every street, like rivers, streams of people, like just going everywhere. Everywhere.
And then, yeah, so we're going through our own, you know, laughing like hyenas, you know, going through this deep spiritual experience, this voyage.
Yeah.
And then this old witch lady with this, I don't know, like this nice purple dress and all these like really intricate jewelry. And she's like, hola, vida.
Venga.
Venga adentro.
Pase por acá.
And we're like, okay. And we bought our peyote bracelets.
Yeah.
Hey, get that. Wow.
Coming to hunt us.
Yeah, right?
Randy, no.
I don't like that it's circling us right now.
You know, that industry that is just becoming the HIKURI industry, where you just land, go to Real de 14, have the thing, buy ponchos, and then get back home. Like the real community that is there, that is happening for that they have a lot of challenges to kind of like keep the way of life over there. They open themselves to like the Western world or the tourism world, and that has their pros and their cons, you know? So at the same time, how can you do it sustainably? How can you open yourself to like this other world and have like people like from us or like anybody that is outside and have like an authentic experience, but not tainted to the level when you have like all of this, like the HIKURI might be gone in some years.
Because that's what I was concerned about as well, and a lot of people are concerned about, and a lot of people are probably going to comment on this video talking about this, which is a fair concern.
Because it's like...
it takes a long time, man. Like, imagine just one trip, and that like one cactus could be like 10, 20, 30 years to grow, you know?
And sometimes one goes through these experiences and then go back to their normal life and like share it with everybody, like, oh, you should do it. But there is not enough Amazons for everybody to do ayahuasca. There is not enough desert for everybody to do HIKURI. So there is like this knowledge like on every country, on every land, on every culture that also you can access there. So yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I have a lot of questions of how you can do it.
Me too. And that's something that I think it will be interesting to keep exploring and talk to these guys. Because we do want to go back. And who knows, maybe we can even invite a small group. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. But follow me on Instagram.
Coming.
Yeah, Yesenia's coming this day. Yeah, she's... Yeah.
Not if we're sacrificing a cow. No.
Well, they prefer to sacrifice a deer, but it wasn't available.
Oh, well, the deer.
Yeah, remember? Because the deer is the spirit of the HIKURI.
Yeah.
Remember?
Absolutely.
The blue deer.
The blue deer.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a deer, so we took the second best option.
Okay.
But wouldn't they say it has to be like a big animal? Well, it's not that it has to be, but the bigger the animal, obviously the more potent the energy is.
Okay, I can see that. What's okay with a chicken, but
Yeah, I know, right? Why not a chick or a fish?
Yeah. Oh well, I'm okay with respecting whatever they are.
But it's their culture, you know. I'm not gonna be like, you shouldn't do this, because I don't know. It's what they've been doing for thousands of years.
How grateful I am of having an experience that was so authentic and so real, and having been so invited to it. How this community was so welcoming to us. Like, yeah, be here, do that. Like for a while, I have read Castañeda. I have read like this experience of going to the desert, finding your own cactus and stuff. So to be able to do it, like thanks to Don Andres, Marco, Gil, and like all of that, I was overwhelmed with happiness.
Yeah. Well, I think with a lot of these experiences, it's never like the psychedelic in and of itself. I think that's just kind of like the cherry on top. It was everything surrounding it. It was the preparation, it was the environment, the culture, the people, the community, the integration, everything that comes before, during, and after. Because we went through the whole process, dude. We hunted, we went out. I got stabbed by freaking cactuses. I bled. Yeah, I got stabbed. Even just like hanging out with like Don Andres, man, it was like...
Yeah, and the community and all of them,
Because they're very, like, they're so in touch with nature. Like, just the stories that you hear, even like in that Carlos Castaneda book with Don Juan.
Yeah.
And you hear about this intense connection of these indigenous people and how they perceive the land. Like, for example, I remember someone telling me about Don Andres, like, he can sense like, oh, there's an earthquake coming or a storm coming, when it's like impossible to even see on the weather app. Like, he just knows, and then boom,
I remember that story
on the dot.
Yeah,
it just happens.
Yeah,
and you know the Aboriginals as well. They have a very similar. I think a lot of indigenous people, they're just, if you live in nature long enough, and that's how you live, then obviously you're gonna start to pick up a lot of these nuances and
And
energies.
it's a community that has a lot of challenges as well. You know, they're being surrounded by this industry. Like, as you notice in the story, it's all like male guys that were doing the ceremony while the women went out and like did the cooking of the cow. So there is like challenges there. Like, I don't know if it's like the centuries challenges or like modern time challenges. But yeah, so how they can transit that, what type of support they get from like the further community, be the government, be like, I don't know, the system. Yeah, that's why I'm really excited about coming back, you know, with like years after and see, because they have like a really good project, you know, supporting the community, supporting like other like, groups that are also having like ceremonies and like, you know, having a voice as well. Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah, and pretty much it. This is like kind of a to be continued story. We just had the one, you know. So this ain't the end, mate. Finished Act 1. Join us for Act 2.
Okay.
Whenever it happens, man.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Cheers, bro.